It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody's grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
Now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, it's Free for All Friday, and I get the absolute blessing of being able to be here live from 12 to 1 p.m. on Alan Autry No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry, and as always, humbled and honored to have you with us, and also so honored and humbled to have Mr. Robert Bullet Bob Lioni with us today. Welcome.
Robert. Sir Robert. You know, I called you Robert all the way like fifth grade, sixth grade.
Well, I
It's
didn't.
Robert.
I didn't really pick up the Bob moniker until I got into college, and then I thought Robert was too formal, so I went to Bob.
You went to Bobby.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not Bobby.
Mom would never call you Bobby. You were always Robert.
Yep. She always called me Robert.
Sir Robert. Folks, we don't have Guillermo with us. He's out doing some good work for a very worthwhile nonprofit that I have no idea what it is.
What do they
He
do?
wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't worthwhile, right?
What do they do?
Yeah. Oh, I'm best friends with, what's his name?
Hey, by the way,
Yes, by the way.
you know, this is our Friday,
Yeah.
and this is our weekly update for the plethora of new fans for the Riverdale High Cowboys, who are going to play their 5th game of the year tonight. They got beat bad last Friday.
We won't talk about that.
We won't talk. We move forward.
Like Carruthers, the Blue Raiders.
We move forward, and tonight they play the winless Minarets High School. So we're hoping for another victory for the Cowboys tonight. And we will report the results of that electrifying struggle on Tuesday.
Yes, and I'm sure all the folks in Minarets appreciate your description of them as the winless Minarets team.
Hey, just the facts, man. Just the facts.
You chose that one.
Well.
It's only going to be poetic justice when they pick up their first victory.
Sorry, Minarets.
And we're
Beautiful
going to be
school.
getting calls on this show, and we will deserve them. I'll direct them all to Robert Lioni. He's the one that said the winless
I don't know
Minarets team. Hey, oh God, we got so much to talk about. Let's try to get, we get stuck on some of these subjects. I'll have 3 or 4, and you will too, and we'll get stuck on number 1 for an hour because an hour goes by fast. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But before the show here, folks, Bob and I were talking, and I know treading in this water is, and I say this quite often with this preface, that's probably going to cost some viewers and some listeners and this and that. But again, I just got to tell you, I appreciate every single one of you who choose to listen to this show and watch the show. I mean, where you invest your time is huge nowadays. And you get older, it's really an important thing to us. I know for me it is. Where do I want to invest my time? So for you to spend some time with me and Bob and here at KXEX, it's we don't take that for granted. We appreciate it. And when I know some other folks, not demeaning them or disparaging them, they're very, very cautious of how they approach something, and it's all right to have discretion and don't let your mouth, overlead your brain, get ahead of your brain. I'm all for those sort of things, but inevitably, if you're talking about the subjects that we are occasionally, like very controversial political subjects, and the ramifications of those subjects are going to affect all of us here, not only today, but our future generations, I believe you have to address it from your heart. Just be honest. Honesty is so hard to find. And when you don't have honesty, the one thing I think this country craves, and I think every country this way craves this, is the truth. And honesty is the mother of truth. Because true honesty is difficult to give depending on the circumstances. That tough love you have to give someone, to be totally honest, just look in their eyes and say, hey, you're off the rails here. I love you, but what you're doing is wrong. And we talked about this in the subject of this elections, the fact that some people feel the election was stolen. Now, hold on. I'm not just talking about the 2020. So Facebook, Zuckerberg, logarithm dude, getting ready to push the button, knock us off of Facebook right now. Hold your water, all right? I'm talking about, yes, as Bob and our 2020 election and those who feel it was stolen. But I'm also talking about the 2016 election, which pretty much there's unanimity on the left that they feel it was stolen in collusion, the Trump campaign with Russia. They're on that, bent on that like a bulldog, and they ain't letting go of that, along with Stacey Abrams down in Georgia. But let's keep it on the federal level. And Bob, we talked about it. I'm got to the point where I'm sick of this. And as you pointed out, and I'm going to turn it over here to get your thoughts on this, that you said, look, there may be some shenanigans that happened in 2016 and 2020. Go ahead and look at that and try to improve the system so we have it, as I say, easier to vote, harder to cheat. Go ahead and do that. But the past is the past. You can't change that. The future ain't here yet. So what we got control over is right now. And we got so many issues, from a porous border.
That's the whole point.
The inflation running wild, just bankrupting families, crime out of control. Am I off base on this? Do you think a lot of folks out there are saying, okay, I get it, but let's move on, for goodness sake?
Well, I think, as we had discussed earlier, there is a vocal minority, in my humble opinion, on both sides, who are going to continue to beat these dead horses. And my feeling is, we have way too many serious issues facing this country right now. Oh, my goodness. To worry about what happened 6 years ago. Now, as you say, if there were mistakes made, if there were improprieties somewhere, fix them, get them corrected, make sure they don't happen again or can't happen again, get some safeguards in there, and let's move forward.
Bingo.
We just have too many things that are facing this country right. My thought was, and we're not going to change people's minds. There are going to be people who say, 2016 was stolen.
Dug in.
Yeah, and 2020 was stolen. I guess my only thought would be, if you're that passionate about a particular principle, put that passion to work. Make it work for you. Don't be negative all the time.
On something you could really improve on and make
have an impact. Have an impact.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, 2020 was stolen by this and that and the other.
Or 2016 was stolen. I mean, you hear
your
it on
opinion
both sides.
and my opinion is not going to change anybody's mind.
Yeah, and let's face it.
Let's move forward.
Absolutely.
I'm just
here we are talking about it, but I think that's going to be my stance unless something comes out of left field that changes my mind. 2016, right now, the evidence we have is, that there was not any tampering of magnitude that would change the outcome by the Russians. The best we were getting is that the Russians spent a couple of $100,000 on Facebook ads. Show me, you want to convince me that the Russians had something to do? Show me a voting machine that they changed. Show me a district that they were able to hack and change the numbers. Show me a machine itself shipped from Siberia and into the voting district in Des Moines, Iowa, or whatever. Just show me something. They won't do it. It was stolen. 2020. All these machines were faulty, they said. They had this attorney Powell very close to the governor. We have the proof. Well, where is it?
Yeah.
Those machines were made available. It's there. You got to show me more than what's out there. I mean, I don't even want a smoking gun. Just show me the semblance of a gun. Now, as you said, and I support this, we all know there's shenanigans that go on in elections. Chicago, the machine there, vote early and often. That wasn't just something somebody made up. I'm not saying, but here, whatever happened, Bob, we grew up in politics. I mean, we were kids. We didn't get, the Vietnam War was raging this now. We didn't get involved really, as most kids, until later in life. You grow up and these things start to mean something to you. When you leave kids and grandkids, behind, you start thinking about the world you're leaving behind. But whatever happened to the old bipartisan commission where by that I mean, if they truly put together a bipartisan commission, Adam Schiff with Jim Jordan, let those two loudmouths go at it, put them on the same commission, put them together. Back in the day, that's what they did. They put a truly bipartisan commission together on a particular subject, if there was enough interest to go find the true facts. So you had those checks and balances. You had far left barking, far right barking. In the middle, you had a couple of comments, but it's truly bipartisan. That January 6th commission's not bipartisan. You had a Trump hater, Liz Cheney, a Trump hater, Adam Kissinger, and that's your Republicans that are on there. They wouldn't let Jordan on the commission. And you know what? If the Republicans take over in the midterms and they start going after all these like Fauci and all these other, which that needs to be looked at, this whole FBI abuse of power needs to be looked at. But if you go stack that commission with a bunch of far rights Republicans and you don't bring in that other voice, as radical as it may be, you're going to be doing the same thing that the Democrats are doing now with the January 6th commission, don't you think?
Do any of these people, aside from being so stinking partisan, do any of them really want to get to the truth?
I don't think so.
I mean...
I think there's more people per square inch conservatives. I'm not answering you honest from my point of view. There's more per square inch on conservative, but not nearly enough. On the left, at least the ones that I think guys like Joe Manchin might still, but even he's a little tainted and polluted by the far left, trying to mollify them. You know,
the search for truth is a never-ending battle, a never-ending search, and people are the politicians are so polarized now by party affiliation that to find a bipartisan, an honest, straightforward bipartisan committee to do anything, that's going to be tough to do.
Well, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. To get back to where we were before in terms of having a semblance of bipartisanship, because it's not that long ago that you had that. When you had Clinton, working with Newt Gingrich, you had Reagan with Tip O'Neill. You had some efforts of bipartisanship. It wasn't too long ago that any candidate, regardless of what party they were in, one of the essentials that each party expected of their candidate to be electable was, do you have the ability to reach what they call reach across the aisle? That was asked. Can you, Democrat candidate, can you work with Republicans? Republican candidate, can you work? This was during the primaries even. Can you work with the other side? They even asked this of Goldwater. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And the answer had to be yes, or you didn't make it through the primary. Today's primaries, if you even mention that on the right that, hey, I'm a Democratic candidate, but I'm going to look forward to sitting down with Mitch McConnell, you know, you're done.
Never make it. Yeah.
And if you're a Republican candidate, say I'm going to do my best to make inroads with Nancy Pelosi, you're done. The thing now, if you're a candidate and you say I'm going to reach across the aisle, you're going to bring back a bloody stub. The primary is going to cut that whole arm right off.
Well,
hey,
I think that the proof in the pudding of that is look at all the bipartisan work that had been done and what was accomplished versus what is being accomplished now.
That's a good point. You judge a tree by the fruit it bears. So I read that someplace.
Okay.
Hey, we got some callers here. We got Amanda from Las Vegas, Free for All Friday. Welcome, Amanda. Amanda, are you there?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing there, dear? How's the weather in Las Vegas?
Oh, it is wonderful. It's about 85 and sunny. It's great. And
is there any
feeling
wind?
A lot better since the last time I talked to y'all. I was hiring a kite on cold medicine, and honest to God, I don't think users do it.
Well, I want some of that cold medicine you had because you were great.
Yeah.
You were very clear. So send some my way, would you?
We need some of that.
What's on your mind? Oh, by the way, I've always wanted to ask you this because it's really, really important.
Okay.
Here's what about truth and honesty. You know, Steve's coming up next after you, truth and politics. But do you ever like sneak over there to one of those casinos and pull the old one-armed bandit? Play those slot machines?
Actually, yeah. It's like my husband makes fun of me. The last time I did it was about 5 years ago. I had $3 in my pocket. I never carry cash, so I had $3 in my wallet. So I put $2 in and got all the way down to 24 cents. I put the last dollar in. I won $7.47, and my husband laughed at me because I cashed it out.
Well, you doubled your money.
And he goes, really? And I said, look, this place wasn't built on winners. We're out of here.
That's right.
You know, the reason I asked that, I used to play the ponies, like to go to the casinos. I haven't been to a casino, probably 25, 30 years. And I'm thinking to myself, I could live in Vegas. You don't resist that, walking down the other side of me saying I wouldn't last 20 minutes. As soon as I moved in there, I would be down there playing a hand of blackjack, hit me 2 hands, splitting tins.
You don't want to do that.
You know, red 19 on the roulette. I would be, okay. You have some comments on electric cars and systemic racism, I see on the notes. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All
you
right.
had mentioning all the electric cars, and my one big thing is, and forgive me, I think it was the other gentleman that was on there. I believe it was Larry that had made the comment about it. To me, it's a form of type of government control because, like y'all said earlier this week, they can turn the electricity off anytime they want to.
Absolutely.
And not that they can't turn the gas pumps off either. But I know that if I need to get in my truck and go somewhere, I can do that, and I don't have to worry about plugging in my electric car and hoping that the grid can support it, because I don't understand why they're wanting to do all these electric cars and you're not going to beef up the grid and do what you have to do. So to me, it's kind of a it's another form of the government's got you under their thumb. That's
Right.
just that's my thought on it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. For all that's worth, I agree with you, because, to make adjustments and improvements to something like the grid, you need to start like 15 years ago. These infrastructure projects, they don't happen overnight. And we're seeing none of that essential infrastructure that must be in place before you can have a mass transfer from fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles. It's just not there. They're not doing it.
No, they're not. And then also with the the forwarding of technology, it gets better and better and better. And I mean, a computer you buy 3 years ago is not any good now because of all of the upgrades and changes that they've made. Well, they upgrade and change the batteries. Well, you buy an electric car today. 5 years from now, you have to go and drop money on a battery change. God forbid, but you have to do it, which is going to be $10,000 to $15,000. Well, if that technology's changed and they don't, we don't make those kind of batteries. Well, then,
you got a good point.
That's a great point.
It won't run in that car.
That's a great point.
Absolutely.
You just paid $50,000 for a paperweight. I mean,
hey, did you all see? Did y'all see Biden? I just had to chuckle. He visited the Ford plant, I believe it was in Michigan. There, and he was driving a car, showed him in the electric car, and he's trying this shiny new electric car, and he's going on. He's looking. I'm going to say, it was like, hey, America, look at me driving the car that you can't afford. Whoever handles it, whoever's in charge of optics, I think. Not
good PR.
I think he worked with Michael Dukakis, the one that put Dukakis in the tank with the hat that lost his election for him.
Not good look.
He says it's glistening new. It wasn't one of these, what an oxymoron, cheap electric car. It's like jumbo shrimp. But this one was not, this was a high end. This was a Tesla looking thing. And he's cruising on there looking out like, you're looking down the camera like, don't you wish you were me? Don't you wish you could afford this car that I'm going to make you buy?
No, I don't. But
you got to laugh through the tears.
And then also you had made the comment about the systemic racism. And yes, it is true.
Go ahead.
But now I'm finding in things that I'm reading that now it's a reverse racism going on. Like Bank of America now offers home loans with no down payment and no closing cost if you are a Black or Hispanic family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's illegal.
Well,
My understanding.
Yes,
so, and of course they say that everyone can, we want all low-income people to apply for it, and we'll, take each case by case, but the executives are on Twitter and all this kind of stuff going, isn't this wonderful that we can do this for the Black and Hispanic family?
Yes.
So what about the white families?
Well,
out a living?
Let me give you another little angle on that, if I may. Why that is really, really bad. There's the old saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. In this case, it is literally repeating itself. They're doing the same things, those lenders. That's predatory lending, because it's the same thing they went back with the Frank Dodd bill, where they made Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the banks make mortgage loans to people who clearly could not afford it. Okay.
Yeah, and they screwed them on the variable interest
They screwed them on the variable. But anyway, even if it was a fixed rate, you had people that were janitors, and God bless the janitors.
My dad was a janitor.
Yes, God bless him. But you're not going to make the salary if you stay as a janitor to be able to afford, a home when the tough times hit. So what they did, they basically gave homes away to people to feel good for that moment, and then at the end, knowing full well that many of these families were going to lose that home during foreclosure and the stress and that comes from that. The bank, you either declare bankruptcy or lose your home, and that's exactly what they're doing now. You know what? It's like an alcoholic. Alcoholic, when they're, these policies they put in place, when they're drinking, it's great. It's fun. I'm high. The first phase is just party time, man. But then the morning comes and the hangover.
Oh, God.
The reality.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these policies are. And that's why it's getting close to midterms. So you got these policies that's nothing different than drug dealers and bartenders trying to get people drunk and hoping that they don't go have a hangover before the November midterms. And that's all they care about. And I know I'm cynical, but dang, you know what?
No, I think you're exactly right.
Well, it's cynicism that's well earned. I mean, by this. So, but I appreciate.
Thanks, Amanda.
You had something about Steve. Hold on there. Something about the systemic racism, real quick, and then we'll.
That was it about the.
Oh, that was the point. The sole point of the. Yeah, it was a good point.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
Okay. You had also mentioned watching old TV. Well, I binge watched Heat of the Night, the first 2 seasons.
Uh-oh.
And I have to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're a hottie in that show.
I don't even know who that guy is. I look at that guy going, I have no idea who he is.
Well, okay. So my question is, because I don't remember, I'll have to watch the rest of the seasons. Do you ever wear black socks, or was it always white socks?
No, that was something that Carol O'Connor come up with, and you put Bubba in white socks. And so that was his creation, and I kind of liked it. Never thought about it, but that's why wardrobe's really important to an actor, because if you don't feel like the part, wardrobe's not so the public, the viewers, the audience is going to believe the character. It starts because the actor can believe the character. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's so important. Actors are really self-conscious about their wardrobe there. But anyway, I appreciate you calling in. Keep up. Appreciate you calling every time, Amanda, and don't worry about that cough medicine. It was fine. Just watch that NyQuil. That NyQuil will get you. That NyQuil. All right, let's go to bye now. Let's go to Steve in Illinois, and Lola, you hang on from New Hampshire. You hang on. Let's go to Steve in Illinois. Steve.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon, Steve.
You started talking on the show tonight, talking about truth and politics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 200 years ago, I'd say we could talk truth and politics, but today, truth and politics be like being a sovereign citizen.
Like oil and water.
And, for about the last 8 years, and don't take me wrong, I'm not proclaiming I'm some fantastic historian that's, above everybody else and stuff, but, for about the last 8-9 years, I've been more involved in studying about the founding of this country, what it was about, why it was about, and everything like that. And the more I get into looking into what this country was created on, I have not yet found anything that a Democrat or the Democratic Party stands for that would be considered American. They were against freeing the slaves. This was, after Thomas Jefferson died, they went crazy, which is what created the Republican Party to stop the slavery expansion going to the West,
exactly
so
right,
on and so forth. I've got a book from 1916. It's called The Platforms of the Two Great Political Parties, and you read into that, and the Democratic Party has no values that would be associated with this country.
Mm-hmm.
They were against the 13th Amendment. They were against the 14th Amendment. They were against civil rights. And then you look at today, the lies. The party is nothing but about lies. Look at the last 6 years, let's say. The Democrats bold-faced lied through how many impeachments against Trump?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the Russia stuff to his business doings, and then this raid that went on, and then you spoke about the election. What we're going through today, you're talking about electric cars, and we created government, and we're supposed to hold them accountable, by the Declaration, when any form of government becomes destructive, so on and so forth. But we all sit back and wait for them to investigate themselves for wrong.
Yeah, that's also a part of our history, Steve, and you're right on the money. Yeah. I've gotten very interested, too, in our founding fathers, and excuse me, I encourage everyone else to get involved. It's fascinating, for one thing. But let me ask you this, and ask Robert here, and listeners and viewers. because it's true. You know, this is not conjecture. What you said about the Democratic Party and its history is right on. Now, they did some good things, but what you enumerated is absolutely fact. So if you are on the left, you're a Democrat, and especially if you're a woke Democrat, and you're committed to that ideology, and you realize you have to get more people to give up what they believe in terms of individual rights, secure borders, and all that stuff, and embrace the Democrats and the woke as the good guys and gals, okay, because that's what they're trying to get. Democrat good, Republican evil. That's what it sent a certain amount of that from Republicans and Democrats. But would you not, when you look at history, because they've seen it, they see all that and say, hey, look, if this gets out, if enough people do what Steve has done, do their research, they're going to find some things about our party and the history that shows that we haven't leveled with them. So is it any surprise that they want to destroy the history of this country?
Well, yeah,
Just try to break down the monument. You just wipe out history. Don't teach history. Then you don't have to worry about people finding out that it was the Republicans that came alongside Lyndon Baines Johnson to pass the Civil Rights Act, not the Democrats. Yeah. That it was a Republican Party, as you said, was founded for the sole purpose of ending slavery. It was they can't defend the indefensible. So you just wipe out history like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to that history. And that's what people have to want. That's why it's so important not to take down a bunch of statues and just wipe out history and call history racist, because you can't defend what your party has done throughout that history. Mm-hmm. So you got a good thing. I tell you, Steve, that's a very good point. And listen, we got other caller, Steve. I really hope you'll call. Well, listen, I really hope you'll call, be a regular caller here, which you semi are. But you always bring up good points, and when God lays something like that on your heart, don't hesitate to call. I mean this for everybody, but Steve, you made a very good point, and it's not radical. It's not dripped in partisanship. It's just the truth.
Yep. It's a history.
And just thank you for that. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Let's go to Lola from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
Yes. Lola?
Yes.
How many times have you, over your lifetime, heard whatever Lola wants, Lola gets?
At least 50 million times I have heard that.
I actually saw somebody, I did a movie with Robin Williams called Popeye, and saw this actor go up to Robin Williams thinking that he was going to be clever and funny, and went up to Robin Williams and went, hey, Nanu, Nanu. And I saw Robin. That's where I became a Robin Williams fan. He just slightly smiled and goes, hi, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, no.
Wow.
What's on your mind? You said, what's on your mind, Lola? Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would love to talk about this wonderful country we live in.
Hey, man, you rant on, girl. I'm all ears, as Prospero would say.
It is very sad because I'm just one of millions probably. I'm at full retirement age, yet I cannot afford to retire because the cost of gas it's still out of control. The cost of fuel oil to heat your home is a mortgage payment now a month.
Right.
And they talk about electric cars.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear you. 100%.
Food, it's out of control. The country is collapsing. Nobody sees this. We're fighting each other.
Well, let me ask you something. What's it going to take, Lola? What do you think? You've seen a lot, like I've seen a lot. We're probably around the same age. Well, just give me your gut feeling. Is there a way to wake up America? We've already been woked up. We know what that means. We don't want any part of that. But to wake up to what you just said, what do you think it's going to take?
To be honest, hopefully Donald Trump will get back in office. People will pray and believe that there is a God. And that's sad with everything going on. And I'm sorry, abortions left and right, which is wrong in my eyes. People killing each other in the streets instead of helping one another. Taking care of each other. And let's bring back the real America where it used to be when I was growing up.
Well, you said something that I 100% agree with. And again, it's sadly, not a popular position or as popular as it used to be in this country. But it's all about your acknowledgement and reliance upon the Almighty God. When this,
Amen.
I believe this tiny little country in the whole scope of things in terms of land mass was blessed by God because those founding fathers and mothers in their documents, they laid it on the line, said, King George, you really have no control over me. God is the one that gives and takes away rights. And we're going to enumerate certain rights that come from God, not man. Excuse me, which prior to the United States had never been tried. The idea of other people, by the people, for the people was just an absurd fantasy. They just said, that's chaos. You got to have a king. You got to have an emperor. You got to have one singular ruler with a lot of power, concentrate all the power in it. That's just how it works. That's how you control people. And the founding fathers said, you know what? We don't believe that. We believe that every person is born with the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Those are things that cannot be given or taken away by a man. Some above that. And with that, they called this the Great Experiment. They went forward with that. But I believe it's Ben Franklin. That's what you were saying. He said something. It may not have been Ben, but I'm almost positive it was. Ben Franklin said, this experiment can work, but it'll only work on a moral people.
Right.
Exactly what you're saying. If you don't have God's direction and God's limitations on your behavior, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Not, hey, it doesn't matter what you do to that person on the way up if you don't come down. All of these things of power was flipped on its ear. And don't you think he was right? We're losing that because as a moral people, that freedom to gather assembly will turn into a mob.
Right.
Exactly. All of those, exactly. If you don't have that moral compass within you that we all have, people say, well, people are different, Alan. Yeah, they are, but there's a common thread of common sense and common decency that runs through us all. I don't think there's one ideology out there that a sane individual would embrace, that the ideology was, I can get mad at somebody and just kill them if I want to, or I can go up to somebody on the street and cold cock them, or I believe my kid deserves an education, but the other kid doesn't. Fairness. I believe my community needs to have public safety, but the other community is not deserving of it. And those are those basic things that a God-believing country, and then what's believing in God if you don't act like you believe in God?
Right, exactly. If you do not follow in his footsteps,
right.
In other words, live by his rules.
Right.
And be blessed by his grace.
Exactly. Right on. You preach it, sister, because it's true. It's like Jordan Peterson gets a lot of criticism because when he gets asked, do you believe in God? He won't answer that. And now
That's sad.
Well, no, but let me tell you where he goes on this. It's not, I used to, when I heard about him, I heard that. I said, I'm going to find out what he's about. He's a great psychologist. And he was presented that question by Sam Harris, who's an atheist. Got a big following with young people, Sam Harris. Growing atheism in this country is a big concern. But he said, he was asked, he says, look, I'm not going to say believe in God. He goes, what does that mean? Anybody can say, I believe in God. But I said, I choose to act like I believe in God. By my actions, do I love my brother and my sister? Do I go and put God's will above my own? Do I act that out in my life? Do I demonstrate that with my behavior? And I finally got it. Hitler said he believed in God. He was a Catholic.
I know.
Sure, I believe.
It's sad.
So anybody can say that. So I got where Jordan was going on that, and I kind of liked it because, like initially you did, Lola, you went, oh, like I did, but on further inquiry, as they say,
further review.
Bob, what you have to say on this? And Lola, thank you for coming. We're going to go to Laura. We're running out of show time, but boy, really appreciate your call. Here's some really good calls today.
Yeah, good calls.
Thank you.
Appreciate. God bless you, and you stay strong and keep warm during this winter. Okay.
Well, statistics will show over the last. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, I think Lola left.
Thanks, Lola. Very good call.
Appreciate her.
New
Hampshire. I love her accent.
I had the statistics one time. We were doing a show a number of months ago, and I had the statistics. I can't remember them because I'm an old guy and my memory is short. But statistically, the country is moving away from organized religions.
Big time.
Big time, especially with the young people. They're not seeing anything that they want to follow because it's become more of a narcissistic society now, and it's all about me, what I want, what I can get, and how I can get it, and how soon I can get it, and that's almost the antithesis of following the Lord, because it just doesn't match up. So when you have that ideology versus a religious ideology, whatever religion you believe in, it's not compatible because we're way too narcissistic. We really don't give a damn about our neighbor. We don't. Most people could say, who? Well,
they do at Martha's Vineyard. They said, bring all the immigrants here illegally. You're a racist if you don't take care of them. Well, DeSantis sent them some. They can't even take 50.
Yeah, well, now
we don't even want 50 of them.
They've now been moved again. Did you know that?
Yeah, down to Cape Cod, right?
They've been moved to Cape Cod to a
But you know whose fault?
down there.
The big blame I feel is the majority, not all, but at the foot of the church, especially the mega churches. There's some great mega churches because they can do great things with ministries. Okay, they can fund ministries.
Well, there's power in numbers. There's no doubt about
power in
that.
numbers. But here's where they went wrong. Now, I don't know when it happened, but when a tithe became a write-off,
Yeah.
really, when churches became nonprofits, when you sign those nonprofit papers, you become a partner with the government, and the government can take away your nonprofit status, which means you will not have that tithe from that rich individual, that rich developer, that rich developer will not be able to write it off. So they're very concerned about the revenue and then all of the ministries they fund. And my suggestion
so it comes
to them,
back down to the money. Huh?
Yes.
Comes back
and
down
I
to
would
the money.
say, you know what? Get rid of the nonprofit status, because what happens, the government can start telling what you can and can't say at the pulpit. They can say it's hate speech if you happen to say, as a pastor, biblically, the Bible has some issues with same-sex marriage. Mm-hmm. You even mentioned that's hate speech to this administration, and you could lose your nonprofit status. So you have pastors tiptoeing around the political tulips rather than preaching the Bible.
There's some real
Preach the Bible.
Real theological issues out there right now because of that very fact. So I mean, we could do a whole show on this.
Oh, we could do a year's worth of shows.
Yeah, you have to be real careful and be real discerning when it comes to picking your church, picking your pastor, whatever, because there are a lot of heretics out there now that are preaching a false gospel. And not that I'm the world's biblical scholar, but you have to tie it all back to the Bible and the original words that were spoken.
When's the last time you've heard a real honest sermon, whether it be live on YouTube or anywhere, in the modern era, about hell? So many preachers I talk to say, we're going to preach the love of Christ. I said, amen, brother or sister, you go ahead and do that. But do you believe there's a hell? Yeah. Do you believe a lot of young people are on the road there? Yeah. Do you think it's a bad, bad place? Yeah. Do you know that now they have TV programs called Lucifer, and they portray demons and the devil as just misunderstood angels? Then once you get to know them and you befriend them, that they're just not that bad. Well, and then hell is not that bad. I wouldn't mind hanging out in hell a while. This is the thought process that the secular world is telling these young people, and yet pastors are paralyzed and scared to death to preach hell because they say we're going to scare people off. And I said, but how about people you scared to heaven?
Yeah.
You know, I don't care how you get to heaven, folks, whether you get loved to heaven or you get scared to heaven. I just want you to go to heaven. Let me tell you, it's a little bit of both with me. I want to go to heaven because I want to be with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and he's promised me it's going to be the best eternity that I could ever even imagine. there, and I'm going to see loved ones again, and it's going to be great every day. And there's a hell that there's not going to be one moment of peace for eternity. Now, you could say, well, I don't believe that, Alan. Well, it doesn't make it less true. I hate to inform you. You cannot believe it all you want, and all the Stephen Calkins stuff said when life's over, it's just like you reach over and turn the computer. It goes black. You don't feel anything. You know, sometimes in my life, I've wished that was the case. But as they say, wish in one hand and do something in the other and see what fills up first. There is a heaven. There is a hell. That's what I believe with all of my heart, and preachers are not preaching to young people or anybody else.
Why is that?
They don't want to go to hell because they're afraid of running people off, that they're going to be called, that they want to just, and again, I'm not picking on Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen, he preaches about the love of Christ and the positivity of Christ. All of that is great, but I would like to see him one time with love in his heart, which he apparently has a lot of it. I'm not going to be cynical of him. You know, a lot of people are, but I'm going to assume that he's sincere in wanting to help people find God and go to heaven, is talk about hell. Because the thing is, once people are educated, they can make their own choice, educated spiritually. Right now, they're not getting that true picture of hell. If you don't preach just the love, the feel-good stuff, and the thing is, it's not a cafeteria Bible. Yeah, it's just not. You can't go down the line. You know what I mean?
It's not feel good.
It's not.
There's a lot of ugly stuff in there.
Yes, and you can't go to, like cafeteria. I mean, you're going down, you got your plate in the cafeteria, you go, okay, I'm going to have some green beans.
But I don't want this.
Okay, well, I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have
no onions, please.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's all served to you, and you have to you have to take all of it.
I guess
not just what you like to eat.
I guess part of that, Haas, comes back to the individual, and you have to feel very secure in your beliefs that you can accept the ugly stuff or the less than loving stuff, and accept that and not run away from the ugly stuff. I mean, it's not. You want to go through some bad, read some bad stuff, some not so nice stuff, then read the Bible. I mean, come on,
exactly.
It's not all sweetness and light.
Well, about what was talked to earlier, the caller, Steve, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Pastor Rick Warren has a great statement about truth. He says the truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable.
Well, he's a mega church.
Yeah. But he understands all of the trappings and shortcomings that a mega church can fall into.
Yeah.
And he says the truth will set you free. First, it'll make you miserable. But
I just think there's a lot of preachers and pastors, and they're the high profile guys because they're the guys that are out in front.
Yeah.
It's not your guy that's at the Baptist church over in a little town in the Central California community, right, wherever that might be. He's not first and foremost in front. It's all of these guys. I'm getting off on a rant here, but. It's all of these guys in the mega churches that have the opportunity.
I'm following you. That's how crazy it is.
you actually look like you're trying to hear what I'm saying.
No, I'm listening to everything you said.
I don't know where I'm going to end up with this, but it's the guys in the mega churches because they're visible. They have the means for the
got the YouTube hits.
TV production, and all of this kind of stuff. And they're the ones that need, because they reach a lot of folks. Right. They reach millions of people. They're the ones that really need to step up and talk about the things that you're talking about. The guy that's doing it in Orosi, California, to his congregation of 100, well, they understand. They've got the message, but it needs to be spread to the other folks that are
all those who say there's not a hell. I would just ask this question, just to think about it a little bit. Just what if the remote possibility there is, the consequences of going there you don't want? At least the Bible says, seek and ye shall find. It doesn't say seek and right away you'll learn all the answers. I would encourage you just to seek. Get the Bible. You might be the most cynical atheist around going, well, I'm going to find out what this is all about. Find you a good Bible-based church. Just go there for a while. You're secure enough in your beliefs that your fear that you're going to go in one of these good churches and come out believing that God sent his only son to die for us. Well, hey, there could be a lot worse things to be converted to. But if you're confident that you can go in and look at all of this nonsense, listen to all this nonsense, and come out the same atheist, give it a shot. Use your brain. Be curious. Implement that Socratic method. Absolutely.
1 hour of your life.
All right, we're going to go to Laura. She's got some information on climate change.
All right.
Change the subject.
She's
Laura,
got
are you there?
a lot of good information, too.
Are you there, Laura?
I'm here.
All right.
Here we go.
You got some important, first, welcome to the show. And I'm going to let you go here and tell us what you got on your mind. Free for all Friday.
First, in regard to Monday's show, I've Amazon sent you a 6-pack of Charmin.
Good. Hey,
Because
Laura.
I don't like wiping my nether yayo with 0.7 ply either.
You know what?
You know, Laura, it's not even that.
He was complaining
it's
about that
It's not even
this
0.7.
morning.
It's like air.
He was reading a
It's
newspaper.
like paper air. I've never seen anything like it.
Yayo will be happy with it.
Okay. I've seen either that or shipping a boudet.
That's a classic.
Give me one of those boudets.
Okay, so here, this is big climate change information.
Climate change
Seriously
info.
big.
I'm always open to good climate change info.
This is major.
Okay.
There have been multiple teams around the world that do nothing but study the magnetic fields of our planet. Okay, and they have over the course of the last 15 years, they have discovered that our magnetic fields don't just control our atmosphere and the gravitational pull of our planet, so we can walk on the ground.
Right.
Also controls our climate.
Interesting.
And there are cyclical changes within our magnetic field that allow the Earth's core to heat and cool. We have been in a heating cycle for the last 10 years. And now they just did a reading about 6 months ago. The Earth has cooled 0.001.16%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, because now it means that we're going to cycle out of the heat and we're going to move back to normal temperatures, and then we're going to see colder temperatures happen. Every single mass extinction that's happened on this planet has happened as a result of the opening and closing of our magnetic field. It also causes our Earth to speed up its rotation, and we're in a faster rotation. It's beginning to slow back down again. So everything that they've been saying is likely not true about climate. And they have been begging for the last 5 years for other physicists to peer review this, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to substantiate any data that you discover, is if you have another team come in and review all of the data and say, yes, we get it, it's legit.
Yeah.
No governmental agency would give anybody any money to peer review this.
Of course
Wonder
not.
Why?
Exactly. Oh, they are so far down the road on this thing.
The Nobel laureate George Smoot has stepped forward, and he has gotten secured funding from the Stephen Hawking Foundation, and they are now going to peer review it and prove.
Well, that is great news.
Is not accurate. But what we do need to do, and this is from these physicists, where the money needs to be spent is cleaning our oceans, because we get 45% of our oxygen from the
I can
ocean.
get behind that.
Yep.
I can see that. I can get behind that.
We need to protect the Amazon rainforest, because we get 30% of our oxygen from there.
Get behind that.
45% from the ocean. Clean the oceans, because all these holes in the ozone that they're talking about, 4 of them now close themselves up.
Yeah. Laura, you just brought up something. Let me ask you this question, because I think it was the same show you're talking about. We went over all that went into making one battery, all the mining, all of these minerals that have to come out of the planet that are not renewable. There's not an infinite source of any of those elements. They're finite in nature. And where are you going to be digging left and right? And the oceans, is it going to have anything to do with the oceans, more pollution to the oceans to find these minerals? I mean, it's we're not being told the whole story. And what scares me, and I know as you pondered this issue, is when politicians, and in particular an entire party, takes an erroneous position and they get far enough down the line, they think it destructive and unthinkable, totally destructive, to be able to say, hey, you know what, our bad, our wrong. It's like the CDC. And I got to tip my hat to this Zelensky lady there that run it, saying, hey, all this stuff was bogus about the 6 feet and the mask and all this stuff. I don't know why they're doing the mea culpa, probably because they think the Republicans are going to bring them on the witness stand when they take over. But, that's, you wonder, and this guy, Stephen Hawking's Foundation, I just jumped on him because, he's an atheist, but God bless him. He seemed to be a good, decent man. I just prayed for his soul. But to have a foundation like this willing to do that, I think is huge, don't you? I mean, because
Stephen Hawking was non-political in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And Stephen Hawking's belief was we have to ask these questions. And he was all about understanding science.
Right.
In any capacity, any way, anything that was going to move mankind forward was what he believed in.
Yes.
But here's the thing. This bill, this Inflation Reduction Act, when you read these climate initiatives, everyone needs to understand solar is worthless because by the time they get done putting all these solar panels in, half the ones they put in the beginning are going to be no good.
Right.
And then we don't have anywhere to dispose of them, along with these EV batteries and everything else.
Exactly.
And the new stranglehold that they put on these transformers and everything else for the electric grid, which I started telling you about a couple weeks ago, now you're going to have power companies in smaller areas like that have their own city municipalities and so forth that are going to end up with a more vulnerable electric grid as a result of this. Because the lead time on the major components that are needed to improve the electric grid are now considered obsolete by this bill.
Yeah. And you know what? Oh, we're running out of time. Boy, I'm just eating this up like a starving dog here. But, I think about all the young people that have been sold this bill of goods in terms of how to approach the climate change, of just cutting out fossil fuels. And that you have electric cars and there's not going to be hurricanes anymore. That's what they're drawing the conclusion. People are buying this. And I'm thinking to myself, man, it is really hard to dry off a brain after it's been washed. It's how do you even begin? I guess it begins with these kind of studies, having the courage and the resources to do an honest, here's this honesty word again, folks, an open, honest evaluation and research on this magnetic fields planet and its effect on climate change.
That's amazing.
Because
that's
if it comes out in the positive, as Laura said, then perhaps the powers that be would be compelled to take a look at it. Here's something backed by the Stephen Hawking's Foundation. Here's the finding.
The argument that George Smoot made when they were screaming about how we need to get rid of beef because cows' farts are killing the atmosphere.
Well, listen, I was raised on a farm. Cow farts are not pleasant to be and I don't think they're controlling whether it rains or not.
They're trying to claim that this is a new phenomenon because of commercial agriculture. That's when we first formed this country. There were 200 million buffalo.
Yeah, by all means, we got a world food shortage. By all means, let's stop beef. Let's kill beef off. Laura, we're running out of time. Love you so much. Love you all that call in. Thanks for the calls, Robert. Great having you in. And just remember, do your best. Let God do the rest. And good Lord willing, creek don't rise. We have a chance to do it on Monday. Bye now.